The Catholic Church, said Newman, holds it better for the sun and moon to drop from heaven, for the earth to fail, and for all the many millions on it to die in extremest agony, than that one soul, I will not say will be lost, but should commit one venial sin, should tell one willful untruth, or should steal one farthing without excuse. You'll have to say it's beautifully phrased, ladies and gentlemen, but to me, and here's my proposition, what we have here, and picked from no mean source, is a distillation of precisely what is twisted and immoral in the faith mentality. It's essential fanaticism, its consideration of the human being as raw material, and its fantasy of purity. Once you assume a creator and a plan, it makes us objects in a cruel experiment whereby we are created sick and commanded to be well. I'll repeat that. Created sick and then ordered to be well. And over us to supervise this is installed a celestial dictatorship, a kind of divine North Korea. Greedy, exigent, I would say more than exigent, greedy for uncritical praise from dawn till dusk, and swift to punish the original sins with which it so tenderly gifted us in the very first place. However, let no one say there's no cure. Salvation is offered. Redemption, indeed, is promised at the low price of the surrender of your critical faculties. Religion, it might be said, must be said, would have to admit, makes extraordinary claims, but though I would maintain that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, rather daringly provides not even ordinary evidence for its extraordinary supernatural claims. Therefore, we might begin by asking, and I'm asking my opponent as well as you, is it good for the world to appeal to our credulity and not to our skepticism? Is it good for the world to worship a deity that takes sides in wars and human affairs? To appeal to our fear and to our guilt, is it good for the world? To our terror of death, is it good to appeal? To preach guilt and shame about the sexual act and the sexual relationship, is this good? To terrify children with the image of hell and eternal punishment, not just of themselves, but of their parents and those they love. Perhaps worst of all, to consider women an inferior creation. Is that good for the world? And can you name me a religion that has not done that? There is actually only one cure for poverty as it happens, and everybody knows it. And it's well understood and it's perfectly simple. It's called the empowerment of women. If you give women control, if you will allow women control over the number of times they have babies, I'll just put it as family style as that. If you'll give them that, and maybe throw in a handful of seeds and a bit of credit, if you do that, the floor of the whole society will rise. Everything, the whole floor of development will rise. That's the proposition Mother Teresa dedicated her life to opposing. Name me a monotheistic religion that dedicates itself to the empowerment of women. Religion forces nice people to do unkind things, and also makes intelligent people say stupid things. Handed a small baby for the first time, is it your first reaction to think, beautiful, almost perfect, now please hand me the sharp stone for its genitalia that I may do the work of the Lord? No. It is, as the great physicist Steven Weinberger has very aptly put it, in the ordinary moral universe, the good will do the best they can, the worst will do the worst they can, but if you want to make good people do wicked things, you'll need religion. Everyone in the civilized world has roughly agreed, including the majority of Arabs and Jews and the international community, that there should be enough room for two states, for two peoples in the same land. I think we have a rough agreement on that. Why can't we get it? The UN can't get it, the US can't get it, the Quartet can't get it, the PLO can't get it, the Israeli parliament can't get it. Why can't they get it? Because the parties of God have a veto on it, and everybody knows that this is true. Because of the divine promises made about this territory, there will never be peace, there will never be compromise. There will instead be misery, shame, and tyranny, and people will kill each other's children for ancient books and caves and relics. And who is going to say that this is good for the world? Do you wish it to be true that there is someone who has you under permanent, round-the-clock supervision and surveillance, who knows what you think even when you are asleep, who can convict you, I borrow again from the Big Brother analogy, of thought crime, and who can condemn you forever to eternal penalty and torture if you make the smallest mistake, who creates you sick, who makes you a sinner, who says you are originally wicked, and then orders you to be well and to recover on penalty of torture. What is this but the most horrific sadomasochistic prostration of the human personality before the most interstellar coldness of authority and tyranny? Why does anyone wish this was true? To emancipate oneself from this, it seems to me, is the beginning of the long story of human liberation. And from very early days, from Democritus, from Lucretius, from Epicurus, all the way through to Spinoza, to Einstein, to our own day, that's been the real struggle. The right to look the churches and the priests and the godheads in the eye and say, I don't believe it. I don't believe a word of it, and you can't make me. It's the beginning of civilization, as well as the beginning of liberation. There are people who will, when a grenade is lobbed through the window, throw themselves on it before it can blow up. It does happen. There are people who die under torture without giving away the whereabouts of their comrades. There are people who go do bomb disposal work and sit defusing huge device. They know any minute. It does happen. It's always happened. It's common to every known human society. It's a part of every heroic narrative of every known society there's ever been. Those who do it are honored. And it doesn't require divine sanction or permission. It is something we can all aspire to.
Yes, you
but
know
we do not get it from Big Brother. If we did, that would degrade it. It would mean it wasn't heroic. It wasn't brave. It wasn't individual. It wasn't exemplary.
Why are these things
Didn't deserve anything.
Because
it would be in the hope either of a reward from Big Brother or for fear of punishment from it. It would abolish morality. It destroys ethics. It means the individual example is dust. I used to wonder when I was a child, what's it like when they told me, here's what hell is like. I could see what hell would be like. Eternal punishment for things I'd never done. I could get that point all right. But eternal praise for an eternal leader that goes on forever, always thanking him, always groveling to him, always sprawling in front of him. I thought, sounds like hell to me. But I couldn't picture it. I've been in North Korea, I can picture it. The sprawling, the abject groveling of a whole people in front of a godhead. It's a totally worshipful state with a god, and it's the most horrible tyranny on the face of the earth, possibly ever on the face of the earth. And I've been there, and I've never been so happy to leave anywhere in my entire life, which North Koreans can't do. They can't get out of it. They're locked in that jail, and that godly jail forever. But at least you can die and get out of North Korea. Monotheism doesn't allow you that. When you die, according to Judaism, of which Christianity is a plagiarism, and to Islam, which is a plagiarism of Judaism, an ignorant plagiarism of Judaism and Christianity, that's when the fun really begins. That's when the tyranny really starts. That's when you find out who's boss. Who wants this to be true? Who thinks that this kind of servile, abject, groveling, fearful life, the preparation for an eternity of misery and shame, is worth having, is worth defending, is worth speaking up for? Risky though it is, terrifying though it can be, that our only hope, and actually also our only joy with this great risk, is that of thinking for ourselves and realizing it cannot be done for us. There are no redeemers, there are no eternal fathers, there is no dear leader, there is no great leader, there is no supreme leader to whom we can look for our own rescue, morally or intellectually. I'll leave you with that thought, and I thank you very much for your attention to me. Thank you.